Well, hey, howdy, hi, everyone, my Lot Pod family. This is the Light on the Trail podcast. I'm Frank Colburn, and on this episode, we will be talking about, giving a little rundown and run through of the Quanah Hill Massacre. So, the Quanah Hill Massacre is I believe the last 2 years, it's been set as a last man standing backyard style race. It's been going on for 8 years. I'm pretty sure. I tried to ask some people that have been there a few times, and I talked to Nick, who I'll mention throughout this episode. He's the one who put it on, and happy late birthday to Nick. It started, I believe, with that idea. He was turning 40, and him and his buddies were like, let's do this thing. It is held in Weatherford, Texas, on the Quanah Hill Bike Trail. This was my second time ever being there. I went there a long time ago, maybe close to 2 years ago. The first time I met and ran with Will, who's been on the podcast a handful of times. And I remember him telling me when we went through this part, he was like, "Oh, this area here is where a lot of people park and hang out. They do this thing called the Quanah Hill Massacre." And from that point, I've always, when I hear about it, I'm like, that's that thing because it's such a gnarly name, right? The Quanah Hill Massacre. And he kind of told me about it. And at that point, no, it was either they're still doing just the original way was just show up, everybody hang out and just run laps whenever, stop for whatever, 20 minutes, an hour if you want, take a nap until like daybreak, and then, go out again and keep going. So the last 2 years, it's been set up as, like I was saying, this backyard style on the hour, you start the hour. So, it was put down as 4.18, 4.18, 4.8, almost 4.2 miles. And that's the idea, is that it's supposed to be around, close to like 24 hours makes 100 miles, I believe. So this was the second year doing that. And it was so cool. And I really, really wanted to do this kind of race style to get a feel for it. I think it's a wonderful practice. If you need any kind of training, pushing yourself, or night training, especially a backyard style event that you want to do or try to get into, if you can, man, you got to do this because it's free, guys. This was free. Again, it's set up with Nick, kind of for this birthday idea. It just incorporates like the trail runner's, soul. Like, hey, buddies, let's hang out. Let's do this run out here in, on the trail. It's a cool place. It's beautiful. We'll just bring snacks. We'll all eat and hang out and just kind of do a bunch of laps. Yeah, let's get loopy out here. And it was fantastic. So I get there. It's to start at 7. So I'm trying to get there a little early. I get close to 6. There's a handful of cars there. And I'm starting to unpack, but trying to make this not too boring, but all the details, because I'm trying to remember everything. And I see Steven with Burleson Running Club. He's like, "Hey, we're over here. Awesome." So I bring over my stuff and set up a canopy, which we almost don't do because the way the shadows are casting, we're not really getting any shade, but there's a chance of rain. Then we might as well put it up. So we're kind of setting up and talking, and I go over to the main aid station. So this is another really cool thing about this race is a lot of people bring extra snacks or drinks and things, and they just fill up this table. Guys, I'm telling you, this table was full of stuff. It was overflowing. They had like another little extra side table that they started putting stuff on. Everything. I know Scott, who I'll mention later too, from Burleson Running Club. He's been on an episode. He brought a whole bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. There's people who were just bringing like full Gatorades and like body armor, and then we had pickles and cookies, chips, all the stuff. And I brought, my own stuff as well. And I had my cooler, bunch of liquid body armor, water, some rock stars. There was a Red Bull in there, some bananas, a bunch of watermelon, and then all my goose and Stroop waffles. Wow. Honey Stinger waffles, which those turned out being great. And I'll probably remember something later, but so much fun. I go there and I meet Nick, and he's got these sweet hats. It's got the Quanah Hill Massacre patch on it with the skull. Unfortunately, the hat is awesome. It has like the inner lining of it's like a towel to help like sweat, but I've got a skinny head and a small head, whatever, and the hats do not fit me. But I think I'm gonna get the patch and put it on something else. So, meeting Nick and a buddy of his is helping him do things, and I get a hat and a sticker. And I'm telling him, because I'd messaged him on Instagram, I'm gonna be there through this podcast, and he's like, man, say hi, what's up? Anyway, so we talked. Nick's super cool. He just kind of tells me how I got started, kind of for his 40th birthday, and then we're getting close to kickoff time, and there's a bunch of people, and there's a lot of talk, and even Nick said it. He's like, all right, guys, if we can get out here till hopefully till morning, some people will be out here, maybe this time tomorrow. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like, is there like there's some setups. There's one tent that had a whole their own table and the cooler and a bunch of people over there, and I was like, dang. I don't really have a goal. I would like my only thought is like it'd be cool to go 7 to 7, and then like see daybreak. But I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm excited to be there. I've got a really good headspace going. A lot of good friends all around. So he gives us kind of the rundown. And before you start, you have to put your name on a whiteboard. So we've got the whiteboard by the kind of community aid station, and it's just full of everybody's names. And every lap you come back and you put a little mark on it. And it's not necessarily competitive. That's the idea of doing the backyard style. You don't have to stay on the hour. If you do to put the mark next to the name, kinda. But there's people that would, kind of the original setup of the Quanah Hill Massacre, run a couple laps, we'll sit and hang out for a little bit. It might be longer than however, and you just go out and run another lap. But that was the idea. So you keep track of, I guess, your consecutive laps or how many you've done total. Because some people, that was their idea too. That's kind of what Nick ended up doing, was he just ran and would chill. I think he ran until morning. But anyway, so we've got everybody's excited and ready. We're at the line. You got your names on the whiteboard. It's 7:00, go. And we all start. And the way I wasn't sure until we started. My original thought was just to leave my watch on and track the whole thing. And then after 3 laps, I decided to stop that and then have it every lap. Because then it would help me keep track of time. Now I know it's, like I said, it's every hour. And I was trying to, as I ran, remember little landmarks. And eventually, after I ran a handful of laps, I could remember. So I'm still not sure if I would have rather let it run the whole time and then had the accumulative amount of miles and everything on one, recorded thing to have as one big event. But since it was like hourly, I was like, I don't know. I probably should have just left it running. But I did like having it once I changed it to every hour, because it gave me a better feel of like distance and everything. If I like, okay, I'm around this corner where this tree is and this ribbon, let me see. Okay. Yeah. It says I'm at 2.8. Like that's right. Okay. And it just gave me a little more, I guess, reference. It didn't matter too much, but anyway, I probably should have just left it running. So start lap 1, man, the first 100 yards, if I can try to break this course down, the first 100 yards was so annoying. Right when you start, and it kind of starts going downhill, and there's these big chunks of like asphalt or like like road top that's there, and they kind of put in these weird spots trying to fill some holes. Just for it might even be less than maybe 50 yards actually. And then it gets out and goes fine. And then kind of turns to your typical Texas course, kind of dirt or loose, fine gravel, a little up and down. Nothing super windy at first. A couple spots later got, back up, just a good trail. I can definitely see why it's a popular mountain bike trail. It'd be really fun on the mountain bikes, but nothing terrible. A couple little, a little sharp, like shoots up. You have to, kind of hike. You could go run through it, but all in all, it's really a nice course to do this on. Not totally flat, but not nasty, not just all rocking up and down and just twisty, and there's spots you could open up, and it was enjoyable for sure. The weather is fantastic. It's like the coolest week it's been all summer. I think this is kind of like the last weeks of summer anyway. But it's always held the last Friday of August, I think is how he plans it. Something like that. But the weather was great, and those clouds rolling in. There's a chance of rain, light breeze. Like it is fantastic weather. And go through the first loop, and there's a handful of people up front. This one guy, younger fella, he took off. He was with this first group, and you could kind of see I was maybe in the second group. But you kind of see him ahead. There's maybe like 5 or 6 guys up there that were like a 10, maybe even like a 9:40-ish pace or so. And I'm trying, even when I started off, I'm like, I did some math with a little calculator, like how much, if it's this long a distance, right, and you run 10-minute pace, it gets you back. Remember, you have like 15 minutes till the next hour. If you ran 14-minute pace, that's cutting it pretty close. So try to be around 12 or 13 or something. And I think I stayed pretty much around like 11 something, high 11s, 11 to 12. Plenty of times I'd, run and look down, I'm like 11 on the dot, or like 10:55 for the early laps. I'm like, I'm going too fast. Anyway, so we get back from the first lap. Also, it failed to mention from saying hi to people. Met Nick. I also met Regina. She was from episode 15, Regina Massengill. I interviewed her, and I haven't got to meet her in person yet. And she was there. And this rock star, if you listen to the episode or you haven't yet, you should, because the episode's about her and her. I think she just ran Leadville, and she's got some FKTs under her name. But she had, the week before, she had ran the Habanero 100, and she ran 100 miles. And here she is at this. She was like, yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to do this or not. My friends kind of talked me into it. They'll be here later. And they just ran a couple miles altogether. I think she ran 4 total. But that was awesome meeting her finally in person. But let's see. So I guess we started at 7, get back. And I've got, I think 15 minutes, and that was nice. And get over to the chair. I'm like, oh, getting your snacks together. I think I just refilled. I had already had one bottle to swap out that just had some tailwind in it. And we start lap 2, and it starts to rain. And it a light rain. It does. It starts to sprinkle. But the clouds are coming in. It's really gray. Not really any thunder yet. I think a little bit, but we're going out. I don't want to bore you too much with that. Same loop. There is a spot that eventually throughout the laps, I started calling it like Raichu Field, which is a Pokemon reference. But when it was spring, this is about mile 3 something, maybe close to 4. It's like one of the highest points you kind of get to. And it's really open because it's where the a power line cuts through. You can see them, like, they run across highways and then through fields. And it's just like a big straight, long, looks like a road, but it's all, grass and there's power lines. Anyway, this big cut through has a bit of a trail that goes, the part of the course comes up here. You're in this big cut through with the power line. You kind of run around the power line, and then you go back on. But when it was raining in their lap 2, I was like, man, if you're going to get electrocuted, this is the place to do it. I was like, at first I was like, that's like the shocking field. And then eventually it became like, oh yeah, like Thunderbolt. And it made me think of Pokemon. It's like, it's Pikachu field. And then another lap would go by. I'm like, no, Pikachu gets too much credit. Raichu's awesome. So the last couple of laps in my head, I was like, oh, we're back up at Raichu's field and do this little loop. Anyway, I hope I wasn't the only one that thought that. But the lap 2 was nice because the rain came real light. I wish it would have rained more. It would have helped knock down some of the dust because it's starting to get dark at this point too. And then with your headlamp, you can see all the dirt getting kicked up. And there's still quite a handful of people on the course. But anyway, no one got shocked, thank God. There was it was about close, almost to mile 4, I think. There was like a hubcap, like a tire, a car wheel hubcap that was kind of by the trail. And I was like, ooh, that's a good landmark. I'll know when I see that I've got like half a mile left. And I think it was on either this lap, on lap 2 or lap 3. I look over after I'm sitting down. I've got, we'll say it's in lap 2. So I'm back. I'm sitting down talking to the Burson Running Club. And we've got there's 2 tents actually set up. So when someone else came, they brought theirs. I think it might have been, let's say maybe it was Emily's, who was also on, and she was on the episode with the other ladies, and it was a great one. We're talking about, I think, Bandera and Rocky Raccoon and everything. But her and her, I believe her husband or fiance, I'm not sure. Sorry, Emily. I think his name is Jason or Jacob. Sorry. They were there anyway, and it's been the Person Run crew. This was like a great tent setup. We were all like, it was just nice to be around friends, right? And anyway, so I look over and I see someone, there was another runner bringing the hubcap to Nick. I was like, this was just on the side of the road. It's pretty cool or whatever, or on the side of the trail. I was like, oh, why did you pick that up? Like, it looked like it had been shot with like a shotgun, or a couple dogs had been chewing on it. But I think it was shot. It was just kind of neat, like a cool little land marker. I can see if you're riding your bike through there and you're like, oh, there's a hubcap, like that's cool. And she like picked it up and brought it up. It really wasn't even in the way of the trail, but for some reason, I mean, it'd make a cool keepsake. So that land marker got removed. But so yeah, lap 2, great still. Started to rain. It stopped pretty quickly after. Didn't do much, but thankfully we had our little canopies up, so no one got wet. All right, and with lap 2, I believe everyone's still running there, but Steven has said a handful of people just want to do like 3 laps, and other people are like, I don't know how many I'm going to do. Scott Cussett, who was on the episode with Steven, they talk about this doing Quanah Hill. It was kind of like their first trail race that they did the year before, and they're both training for a 100-miler that they're getting ready for. And Scott's like, man, I told him, I was like, I think I kind of want to go till 7 or like till daybreak, and he was like, me too. I'd really like to do that. I'm training for this 100-miler. I'm like, oh, awesome. And there's Ray and another Ray, I think his name might have been Ryan. Might have been the other Ryan, I think. There might have been 3 Ryans. Gosh. I did get run with Ray a little bit on loop 3 when we went out. And then there was Ryan DeMann who ran with me another lap. I'll mention that later. And there's another Ryan with the club who's ran that a handful of times. He had like a hat on from like the year before that of the Quanah Hill. And he actually helped me with I needed a battery for my headlamp. Talk about that later. But I was also able to, for lap 1, 2, and 3, I recorded myself with my phone. So I'll have some of those to be able to play. So we just finished lap 1, and lap 1. We went through 2. So I'll just play those 2 back to back, and then I'll be able to have 3. And then I wasn't able to record on lap 4, so I just have for the other couple laps I did. Anyway. What's working? Check. Oh, it is working. All right, 1 lap down. We have like 5 minutes out here at the Quanah Hill Massacre. It's about to get dark. Get the headlamp ready. Everybody's looking awesome and sweaty now. And we'll go from there. Not bad. I think I got 4.15. There we go. Okay. Getting ready to go back. Alrighty, there is 2 laps. When we started, we actually got a little bit of rain. It was really light, just for a second, and the breeze is still going. It's extremely nice weather. It's full dark now, and again, there's 2 laps. And so far so good. Just got my legs propped up. I'm relaxing. Keeping good around 10-ish to 12-ish minute pace. Rocking and rolling. Okay. Now getting into lap 3. It didn't rain that much. Now the humidity's kind of picked back up. And some people are like, this humidity sucks. Anyway, but I had to run with Ray. He was awesome. I believe we ran the whole... No. I think he kind of caught up with me. And we went. I could tell from his voice who it was, but we ran like the last like 2.5, 3 miles together, and finished that. I don't remember how many laps that he ran. And we get back from lap 3, and I'll just play the lap 3 recording here.
Dude, we should have an IV bar at these things.
Okay, back on lap 3. Get some stuff in me. A water bottle. Ooh, bananas are getting black. Some watermelon. 5 minutes, and I don't know, Telwin, maybe Joe. What time is it now? Almost 10 o'clock. Okay. And at this point, I've had some watermelon. I've started to take a salt stick, just one of the little pill tabs, every other lap, and that seems to be fine. On this lap, I might have cracked open the Rockstar Recovery, and I'm dinging a couple drinks off that. The little Stroop waffles, like I mentioned, those sit well and some more calories. Handful of people I think wanted to do, it seemed like around lap 3, people were like, that's what I wanted to do. Cool, call it. As far as sticking to the on the hour. And then there's, lap 5, we see a big drop in the trail population that's been running. But yeah, so lap 3 was great. Going into lap 4, let me see. I can't remember exactly if it was lap 4 or 5. I've tried to write down some notes here, but the wildlife also starts to come out because, so we're going into lap 4, started at 7. This is like 10 o'clock at night, I believe. Let's see, one's at 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so lap 4 should be 10 o'clock. And we go off again. This might have been the point. I was following one guy for a while, and he was one of that first group that I was talking about, that was kind of the lead pack or the faster groups. And he was helping us. We were rolling, and then he just stepped off the side maybe at like mile 2 and started walking. And I guess he just been like going too hard. Anyway, but yeah, lap 4 goes through fine. We've definitely got our headlamps on by now. And we're just rocking and rolling, getting through all this. And I get back from loop 4, and I go to put my mark next to my name on the board. You're kind of getting a look of seeing how much people have been running or who's still kind of going. I grab a pickle. It's like I think the only thing I've grabbed from the aid station. So we're 8, 16, we're about 17 miles, I guess, total. And I get back to our hangout spot, and my family's there. So my wife, and my 2 kids, so Jordan, my wife, and then Jackson, Skylar are there, my son and daughter. I'm like, oh my gosh, hey, like, and I'd mentioned to her, like, they had stuff they were doing. I was like, here's the location where I'm at. If y'all want to stop by, you could, of course. But I didn't expect them to come out, it being so late. But it was a wonderful surprise. And so thank you, Lisa, for helping my wife with that, because getting there, the location is kind of tricky, especially in the dark. There's just some handwritten signs out by the road that's like, Quanah Hill Massacre, arrow this way. But they definitely helped when you could see. Anyway, thank you, Lisa, for helping my wife get there. And it was such a treat to see them. Apparently, they had got there like 5 minutes after I left for the 4th lap. So they had to wait essentially almost an hour already. But they got to sit and talk with everyone else that was there. And I think the kids thought it was really cool because, a bunch of people kind of doing our thing and running, and we're under our little canopies with the little lanterns and things. And so they shared some watermelon with me, got to hug them, and, then I'm there for just essentially 10 minutes, maybe 12. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to go. Thank you so much. Bye. And, but that was fantastic. And I think we're going into loop 5 now. And, so starting loop 5, Ryan, D-Man, I think he wants to do one more lap, and we kind of start to go off, and he was like, oh, I forgot, he had to run back to the tent. I think really from the Burleson Running Club, I think it's Ryan and just Scott at the moment, that are still running. And that's that handful of people that was there with us. We're just like planning on 3 anyway, 3 or 4 or so. And it's dark, and again, some people are driving quite a ways back home. And there's so much deer out here. So you want to be awake enough to dodge deer. And I go, and then Ryan catches back up with me. I hear this bomb flying down one of the biggest hills, is like within mile 1, and this light shaking and flying through, and he's got his music playing. And Ryan catches up with me, and we run together for probably almost the whole loop. And there's about a mile left when he cuts off. But before that, man, we were having some good talks about just like Christianity and how we pray and stuff. And I've been kind of having a lot of thinking. There's times now in the last couple of laps that I've been running by myself almost, and almost the whole time. And I pray a lot whenever I'm running, and I like to, and it helps me set my mind and my heart right, and just be thankful, especially when the rain came. My goodness, that was wonderful. And but we're talking a lot about just our kind of our churches, or how praying for people or just getting motivated. He's telling me a story about he was running a marathon not too long ago, and they had like 2 or 3 miles left, and he was running with some people, and he's like, man, I was so like excited and like jazzed up, and I just started like praying, but I was like out loud. And the other guys that were there, and I think he didn't know if they were Christians or not or how they would react, but he just did it, and they were like, oh yeah, man, they got them excited too, and they just ran the last few miles and finished strong. And that's what I was having like kind of in my head. What I was relating to was like, man, I had this thought cross my mind of like, oh, you should share the gospel with somebody like out here. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. That was my initial first like, feeling. You get yourself, check yourself from what you first think about something, if you want to do it or not, yes or no. Hey, you want to go skydiving? Do you want to go run this race all night? Do you want to, learn this, take this class over here or something, whatever your initial like inner voice that hits you like, oh no, or, oh yeah, you can tell. And that's something I've, through life, I've really tried to like listen to and, work through things that in my first thought, was like, oh, no, that's awkward. Like, oh, and I've had this talk before, like, really, you're going to feel awkward versus trying to like share the gospel with somebody or talk to them or whatever. And, but we kind of talked about that, and, it was a really good talk. And I'm so grateful that Ryan was able to run with me when he did. And he was even playing, some like praise and worship music on his phone. And I think I had heard someone else. That's what I asked him about that. I was like, oh, was that you playing it? Cause I think on lap 4, I heard somebody playing some music, and it was like, I was like, is that like church music? And he said it wasn't him. So someone else was out there just rocking praise and worship music. And I thought that was so neat. Anyway, a great talk with Ryan, man. Thank you for running with me and, help motivating me and just having the good, spiritual talk. It was good. And that we kind of talked about, certain gifts or what, you shouldn't try to push things. Like if that's not what I'm, everyone should try to share the gospel, but if I'm not, like, that's not necessarily my gift or evangelism, right? Then I don't want to force it and, that sounded weird. Force it and make it like not work, not it come out wrong or try to make something. Anyway, the kind of talks you have when it's, almost midnight and you've been running, 20 miles or whatever. Anyway, so good stuff. I've got like a mile left or so, I believe. In this point here, I get mixed up with lap 4 or 5, but I come around a corner and there's like eyes floating, like 4 eyes. And then I start to see these big ears, and I just yell. I kind of stop for a second. I'm like, whoa. Anyway, it's deer that had come up out of the grass, and it was frightening. Like shot my heart into my throat. I was like, ah. And then like, they just kind of like barely moved, like, whoa. And, so the deer are out now that it's dark, and plenty of other wildlife, that, hear all kind of like, I guess it's owls and bats just kind of chirping and squeaking and stuff. It was very cool, but the deer are terrifying because you're already running in the dark and you come around a corner and again, these glowing eyes and big ears, and they're kind of a weird height, and they got like a long neck, and you just it's wild. There's been a handful of them, kind of here running through the woods and everything. And, it's been a treat. So lap 5 was awesome. We get back again about 10 minutes or so for loop 6. I think again it's all kind of mixed up. I'll play the what was I gonna say? The recording. I have loop 5 recorded, I believe, so I'll play that here and we'll come back.
Of course.
Okay, back from lap 5. Did not record on lap 4. My lovely family came to see me, and now everyone's quiet. All right. My wife Jordan and Jackson Skylar came, give them hugs and kisses. That was great. Back from 5. I got like 5 minutes left. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm chugging some applesauce. And then back to it with Steven. He's going to join me, he said. All right, bye. Okay, so we have like 10 minutes left sitting down. And it's whatever o'clock now. Getting into midnight. It's about to be midnight, I believe. And I think Scott's still out there running. I can't remember if I see him, if he comes in. This might have been his last lap, like he was finishing 5 laps, or he did one more before going out. And this was also, I think, my headlamp had been dying, so it was kind of going in and out, or it might have been the next lap. Anyway, but the Burleson Running Club, some people started to go, and they're like, hey, we're about to take off, and everyone there, again, I'm just going to give everyone that was with the Burson Running Club that showed up praise, because they were so nice. Anyone that wasn't running anymore, even that was running, still obviously, it was like a huge just aid station for us, but like your pit crew, like, hey, did you feeling good? Can I get you something? What do you got? This. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. Thank you so much. And just everyone's super cool, super nice. That was awesome. Just seeing like the smiling faces and just words of encouragement when you get back, guys, was wonderful. It helped a whole lot. And before I left, they're like, hey, do you want me to take your canopy down so you don't have to worry about that? And I was like, no, it's okay. I liked it. I was hanging a light. So I really I needed that. And then if it rained again or anything, but everyone was super awesome, really nice. One of the guys, I can't remember if it was, I think Ryan as well. But I needed a battery. My battery, had died on my headlamp. I don't know how to say the name, Petzl, I think, or I was supposed to say pretzel. My Petzl headlamp, was just a charging battery. So that had died. So I needed to change out to the little AAAs. So I went back to my Black Diamond headlamp that I've had problems with. And I needed one more AAA for the Petzl. And this was the lap before, I think. Yes, because while I was sitting, I forgot to change out the batteries. And so I did use my Black Diamond either on this lap 5 or lap 6. And then when I came back, they were wrapping up and leaving, but one of them, the guys did give me a AAA battery. Anyway, it was all dark and it was blurry, and miles had been done. You understand. So we're going into lap 6, I believe, or it's midnight by now, and I'm running. I think this was the lap. I pretty much ran the whole way, I think, or I caught up with him early on. I ran into an armadillo. I literally almost ran over it. And those things are, you usually don't see those. And he's right in the middle of the trail and didn't even like scurry off like a squirrel, like immediately. He just kind of like, whoa. And I was like, what are you doing? And then he kind of took off, and he only went like 2 feet off the trail and like turned around and like looked at me like he's like, this happens all the time, man. Keep going. And yeah, that was really cool. Armadillos are super neat. And, then I think I caught it with Nick, again, the gentleman who puts it on, and we just ran that whole thing together. And at this point, there's a nary a soul out here. And there's been quite a few people, definitely after lap 5. I think a lot of people were happy with that, wanted to do 5 laps and wrapped it up. And you can kind of come back every loop and you see like, oh, there's like half as many cars. And the next loop, you're like, oh, there's barely any cars left. And like I said, the club is kind of wrapping it up there, telling me they're going to go. So thank you so much. And so I'm running with Nick. We talk a little bit, run quietly, which totally fine with. And we get through with that one. And I believe, again, I kind of get the 5 and like the timing weird, because it's like you're running on that hour, but you need to be back at the line on the same hour, so you start at the next hour. So I'm getting roughly close to the timeline of what's happened and everything. But I believe kind of what I said was right, because I know my lamp started dying when I was running with Nick. So I think this is lap 6, and then when we get back at the end, getting ready, when it's about to be 1 o'clock or 1 a.m. is when the club was packing up and leaving, and the gentleman, Ryan, I don't remember his last name, gave me the AAA battery. So we are going, and then we've got it's about to be, like I said, at 1 a.m. and I'm walking back up to the line, and it's just me. And Nick is kind of grabbing some things at the table, and I'm looking around, and like it's just me. And again, this could have been 6, because I thought I called the time at midnight. But either way, I was like, oh, midnight, or I said 1. I can't remember the time. One of those 2 lights a day was like, yeah, I get it. So I'm like, yep, and I go, and it's just me. And whatever, lap 7 happens, and or this was okay, whatever, lap 6 maybe. And I go do the whole lap thing, come back, and at this point, it's been good with the Rockstar, drinking a handful of those, and I've been having Tailwind, and sometimes I went back and forth from having like a strong Tailwind mix and like kind of a watered down, more water Tailwind mix, and I might like chug down a goo real quick, and a bunch of watermelon. No, I'm not a big fan of watermelon, but it was awesome. It was quite nice, and I'm so glad I brought plenty of it. I had pretty much brought just enough water. That's one thing I was worried about, was that, the water I brought was just one. It might have been a gallon, and like a big bottle I have filled with water, and then my two bottles. That I had one bottle every lap, but anyway, it was staying nice and cold, and it was whatever. It worked out. I'd never really felt like I bonked or hit a wall of like fuel. I felt pretty good the last couple laps again. So this way, that was 7. I finished 7, so I'm getting ready for that puts us at like 2:00. So we'll say, or maybe it's like 1:50, right? 1:50. I get back about 10 minutes. I'm getting ready to go to run out, or it might have been 2:50, whatever. And it's just me, and I don't see Nick yet. There was a couple that came. I think it was a daughter and her dad. They came up, and so this is a group. They weren't on the hour anymore, not doing the backyard style. They were just going out and running. And they would come and hang out for a little bit and go. And that was the one car that was parked kind of by the porta potty, I believe. That was them. And there's like I said, there's like 3 cars left. And I have 7. There's a recording of 7, so I'll play. Here's 7. Okay, I'm trying to record a little bit here before I go. I got about 10 minutes. Came in, that was lap 7. I'm going to do one more lap. That'll give me a good 50K. I think I'm at like 30-ish miles right now. So do 4 more. Get about 34, 35, and I'm happy with that. This has been really great. Me and the guy who set up the race, Nick, I believe is his name. Might be Neil. Nick. We're the only ones out here running now. So we're done. It's almost 2:00. So this has been awesome. Yeah, I'm so blessed. I've been praying and just having a good time out there, man. It's been a treat. I didn't really know what I wanted to do or expect. I just came out here and enjoyed it. And it's been such a treat. It's been awesome. So I'm going to scarf down some more watermelon, drink some liquids here, some Rockstar, and have one more awesome lap, and then call it good. I'm going to be happy with that. I keep thinking if I'm going to like, well, maybe 2 more will be 10. And then you're close to like daybreak at like 6 something or 7. And like, no, again, I didn't really have a set goal. I don't want to keep pushing it. I still need to drive home. So there's that. So I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna end on a happy note, and man, blessed, too blessed to rest, right? I'm getting ready to go with my last lap. It's just me under here, and again, the weather has been wonderful. No more rain. It's been cool. I've been kind of struggling, like I had mentioned in some of the recordings. Like, I don't know what's my goal. I wanted to show up, and I kind of thought, like I said at the beginning, maybe it's a little daybreak, or 7 to 7 would be cool. First, like, 5 laps is cool. And then I was like, let's do, like a 50K. So like 30-ish miles. Like, where am I at after 7? I was like, that's like, I think around 30. So we'll do one more, make it a solid, definitely over 30, 33, 34 miles. And I'll be happy with that. I didn't want to keep, I'm fighting the like, well, you're at 8, then you do 2 more. That's like 10. And you could do 2 more, and then at that point it'd be like daybreak, and that's what you wanted to do and everything. I was like, I hadn't like, one great thing about this, again, it was free. It wasn't really necessarily a competition. If there was other guys running still, I'm sure that would have fueled me more to keep going. But I was like, look, like, I'm enjoying this right now. This is great. I still have to drive home. And again, like I said, I believe I say all this in the recording, but I still have to drive home, and I don't know what I wanted to do anyway. So I don't want to keep just like, maybe a little more, or maybe whatever. And then something, then I get hurt. I am starting to feel, I'm pretty sore at this time. I'm feeling it because we're about 30 miles. I'm like, okay, now we're in it. And I think, man, this will be a great spot to call it. You do a 50K. You've been wanting to do a 50K kind of event anyway. And just, finish strong and happy. And that's what I do. I get the last lap done, and I come back, and I told myself, if I see, amongst all the things of thinking in your head and all that, it's like, man, if Nick's there at the aid station when I get back, I'm going to talk to him with something that had been on my mind. But it's why, and he's sure enough, I get there and he's actually trying to take a nap. Poor guy. So Nick, thank you for hearing me and just letting me talk to you for a second. And I was like, hey man, like, how's it going? Where do you know, I think that's my last one. I put my little 8th mark next to my name and, I call it and he's like, I'm like, what are you doing? What's your plan? He's like, I'm going to take a nap and, get up and do another lap or so. I was like, oh dang. All right. And we talked for a little bit. And that poor brother, he was a rock star, but he's got all that food left. I asked him, that's dude, what do you got? Like 80 pounds of food over here. Like, what are you going to do? And I don't know what he does with these. Like, you take some home, like, please, you should grab some stuff. But I hobble back over to my, or my tent that's left. It's about 350 when I finish it, and just kind of sit, and chill out for a second, get my legs up. I'm like, okay, what do I need to pack up? And just start packing stuff up. And that was it. So that was the Quanah Hill Massacre. That other couple I mentioned, the daughter and the dad, they come back up in a few minutes, and she's trying to get a marathon. I think she's at like 25-ish or something. And so she does a couple big loops around the parking lot, I think, to get to get a marathon. It was great. All the people there were awesome. I tried to hand out some stickers for the podcast, and I kind of set them by the board, and they all disappeared. So I think if you picked one up, thank you so much for picking one up. I think at least, I like to say, like, hey, we're all kids. Like, we like stickers. It's a sticker. Here you go. I've been trying to hand those out more because I have them and I don't really like, oh, do you think maybe you want a sticker? I'm like, dude, hey, you want a free sticker? Here you go. Because again, it's stickers, right? What a fantastic event. I talked to Nick about coming on, so there's a good chance I'll be able to interview him and kind of get more of a detailed story about it and the history behind it. I think he might help with other race events or things also. I'm looking forward to that. And so the Quanah Hill Massacre at the end of August, man, you got to do it. Fantastic. It was a great push. Wonderful. Again, for it being free, are you kidding me? It was awesome. It was awesome. Man, just a great training thing, and just people hanging out there was a kid out there. I say that, maybe like 12 or 10 even, because you can just go out there and do it. So like this public trail, it just great. Anyway, so, and to close things out here, I just want to hit a little verse. So we'll do Romans 8:6. For the mindset of the flesh is death, but the mindset of the spirit is life and peace. This is a verse that kind of reminds me of Ezekiel, the Ezekiel verse of the bones. Like, can these bones live? Only you know, Lord. It's one of those, the flesh is so weak, but when you can set your goals or set your mind something higher, or especially, to God, you can just, it helps so much, like in pushing yourself and taking your mind off other things. We're like, yeah, I'm this frail human, or my muscles are hurting, or this and that, but like, dude, I've got other things to do. This is just a sliver of time, in my life. So, that's it, guys. That's the Quanah Hill Massacre. Again, hopefully I'll get Nick on here soon and get an episode out with more detail on it. It was awesome. We had friends, food, there was deer, armadillos, people pushing themselves and just getting ready. It was a gnarly, awesome event. So thank you so much for listening, guys. This has been a Light on the Trail podcast. If you have any questions or ideas, feel free to email at fullsteamaudio. Whoa, this microphone. fullsteamaudio@outlook.com. And there's an Instagram and our Facebook page as well. All right, guys. Thank you. May the dirt be forever under your feet.